All right, folks. Well, this is Christopher Brandlin, and I have my friend, client, and our guest, Louis Lombardi, who is going to be doing the podcast today. So, Louis, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Perfect. So Louis, we sparked a lot of attention last week when you were in Vegas for the convention, and we met at the Trump Hotel, and we just kind of talked about health. I mean, look, we're not here to talk about politics. We're here to talk about health, and that's why. Like, even though I'm known as the carnivore lawyer, I'm expecting people to just eat real food. I don't want people eating a lot of crap food. I want to eat people eating preservatives, seed oils, and whatnot. And that's why I give a lot of respect for what you're doing with your pizza company. So tell me, what made you decide? Well, first of all, before we get to this, for some people, some of the new Gen Zs that may not know you as much as I know you, tell me a little bit about your background.
I'm an actor for about 40 years. I've been on shows like The Sopranos, 24, Entourage. I've done a bunch of films, but I've been doing this since I'm a kid. It's all I knew, and it was an extreme passion for me my whole life. So, now that the business is starting to go a different direction, I went into the food business. And going into the food business, you know, I've always looked at labels and packaging and I try to show my daughter. So as the years go on, you can see the problem with our food system, and you start to shake your head and go, why do you need 75 ingredients in a ketchup? Why do you need 120? Why do you need 50 ingredients? I'm sorry. Why do you need 50 ingredients in a Chick-fil-A sandwich? It's a grilled chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Like, are you intentionally putting them in there to facilitate the medical industry?
Yeah,
Like, is
this
it
is where we kind of both started waking up.
right? And I've been waking up for years, and everyone goes, "Oh, you're crazy. I'll get," and they eat in the front. Then meanwhile, when they get sick, they go, "Oh, well, how did I get sick? Because you took what they're telling you they're doing. They're telling you there's glyphosate, there's all these. Never mind. People get so fixated on seed oils. Seed oil is 1% of it, the worst thing ever, but it's 1% of the problem.
Yeah,
You know,
there's a list of
a
problems.
list.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So as a food in the food business, you know, I watch every label. I look at everything. And it ain't just seed oils, it's glyphosate, it's all this stuff in these. You can't you have to be a scientist to read a label.
Yeah, if you can't pronounce it, you shouldn't be eating it.
You shouldn't be eating it. And it's funny because Heinz ketchup can make a 4 ingredient ketchup in Europe, but they got to make a 70 ingredient ketchup here.
Yeah,
Maybe
just for example is like look at you and I are both Italians, and yeah, I gotta admit, even though I have family in Italy, I still haven't been to Italy, and I
me
have to
either.
go there. Yeah, well, you there are
And
okay. Yeah,
people
yeah.
curse me all the time. You're
Oh
not
yeah, before I
Italian.
met you in 2018, where we were neighbors in like Long Beach, I think you came from Brooklyn, didn't you
The
tell me that?
Bronx. The
Oh, the
Bronx.
Bronx. Okay, gotcha.
But you don't understand, Chris, when we were, I mean, you're young, but when
Yeah,
I was younger, there was none of these chemicals in food. You ate McDonald's, you were eating food. You ate stuff back then, you were eating food. When my grandmother, my mother cooked back in the 70s, there was not a million chemicals. It wasn't so chemically enhanced. So, you kind of were eating more healthier foods, right?
yes.
As the time went on, I would say maybe late 80s, 90s is when they started transforming the food industry to a chemically induced food industry. And and I don't actually believe it was to save money. I believe it was intentionally done to make everyone sick. So when you go to a doctor, he tells you need 7 prescriptions, and then you're on a prescription fix for the next 5 years. They call it the cycle. We got to get you better, but the 5 years of taking these medicines are destroying 10 other things in your system. So you might get better with your blood pressure, but now you got kidney disease, and now you got this, and you get all these problems from what they're putting in. So, and who owns Nestle? Look
Who?
it up.
All right, well, I have to look it
Look
up
it
right
up.
now. Or you tell me.
Let's give people facts and not assumptions. Who owns? Is it Philip Morris?
Who owns Nestle? Swiss multinational company, which is BlackRock and Vanguard,
There you
basically
go.
major
There you
investors.
go. How do you shrink the quality, add more garbage, Make the product smaller. That's what those BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, they're there to destroy the people. They're not there to help anyone, and that's a fact. I don't care what anybody in there. Oh, you're paranoid. You're delusional. You're a political. Not political anything. Your kids are eating garbage. Look what's in cereal. Let's stop there.
Yeah. The cereal's got probably the most ingredients you can look at anything. And that's why if you go to the middle aisles of the grocery store, you'll see the foods with the most ingredients. So if you go on the outside perimeter where you're getting fruits and vegetables and meat and dairy and eggs, this is where you have the single ingredients. And this is kind of like a simple recommendation I do for a lot of people. I'm like, if you want to get healthier, I'm not even going to tell you exactly what you will have to eat specifically. Just shop the outer perimeter of the grocery store. That's a good start, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but here I'm even seeing right over here, like Fabricans, like with Nestle is also connected to Cheerios, Kit Kat, Nescafe, DiGiorno Pizza, like with
Well,
all
eight companies on everything. I have the chart.
yeah.
Procter and Gamble.
Yeah.
But Philip Morris, I'm 90% sure bought Nestle.
Yeah, I think they're probably the biggest investors or kind of like majority shareholders,
Yeah.
basically. That's what
So now you have
happened.
a company that poisoned people from the 50s, 60s, 70s smoking cigarettes, right? Philip
Yeah.
Morris are now making our food.
And you and I kind of both recognize, and we kind of discuss this as we known each other through the years, is that big food and big pharma, they're interconnected. I mean,
They're the
there is
same.
a very straight connection. It's because it's a cycle where the ultra processed foods, it drives chronic disease, obesity, diabetes, and the pharmaceuticals are then sold to manage these conditions, right? Like so this like they call it like the symbiotic relationship, it's maintained it's overlapping corporate interests, and then you're seeing that Pfizer, Moderna, and all like a Johnson, they got ownership interest in some of these major food companies because
Right.
they know they're just feeding each other. And big food and big pharma are like two of the wealthiest kind of like industries where you can see that these and then you come into BlackRock, Vanguard, and how they're trying to take over. It
Right.
seems that there's basically they call it a downward spiral or cycle. Is that hey, let me feed your kid a bunch of crap. We'll get them really addicted to a lot of these ultra processed foods. They're gonna get a chronic disease such as obesity, type 2 diabetes, or
Depression,
yeah,
depression,
depression.
because the food
Yeah.
destroys your mind. Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
just the sugar that's killing the mind, it's all the processed crap in there too. And then afterwards, they have to take the medications and they're going to take these medications for the rest of their life. And that because is where they are a routine customer for the pharmaceutical industry. So it seems like they're routine customers. I never even tell people that, we are no longer patients at hospitals. We have become customers for the pharmaceutical industries.
Yeah.
And if you know and you already know my story, is that, I was a competitive athlete and all natural bodybuilder, and I got sick from baseline. It was actually Lyme and some co-infections, but the biggest problem or the biggest mistake I did is I went to conventional doctors who put me on prescriptive medications for 14 months, which incinerated my intestines and make me really sick. My immune system went to crap. And I ended up having a regretful surgery and cutting open my intestines while I was fully awake in the surgery. And then I got it recut open 2 more times while I was fully awake. And it finally kind of woke me up with what just happened and what's happening to me, even though I'm like, what already happened to me and I healed, I'm seeing it happen to everybody else. So my whole focus in my campaign is public health, and like I'm focused on public education, and public safety as well. But public health is the hugest culprit that a lot of candidates are not focusing on. I think there should be a focus because a strong and healthy society is going to produce strong and a stronger results, right? More efficient, and our children, especially when you're looking at your child, those are our future leaders. We got to really make sure that we have some kind of future.
Well, can I say something? It shouldn't be up to you, a political person, to be pulling this stuff out. It should be up to the parents going, why is my kid eating 70 ingredients for breakfast? Never mind lunch and dinner. Why
Yeah.
is my kid having, you look to a box of cereal? The parents are so in denial about everything. No one's knowledge. When I explain stuff like this to people, you're a conspiracy theorist. I go, Look at the back of the box.
Yeah, exactly.
it's telling you, and you're still feeding it to your child. Who's the problem? You, because your child doesn't know. You do. As a parent, you need to guard your kid, protect your children. When you start being in denial and don't want to hear it, you're the problem as a parent. Could you imagine if every parent in America took your stance?
No, we'd have really strong and healthy children.
You'd have
Or
nobody
heck,
buying cereal. You'd have
yeah.
nobody buying Pop Tarts.
And you know what? Indirectly, big food would go out of business, all these
Yeah,
major corporations, and big pharma would go out of business too,
out
because
of
you
business.
never have to rely on medications.
Bring it back to the American farmers. Bring it back to the people that they're pulling the well, who owns the biggest land and who's the biggest farmland owner? Bill Gates. The guy's
Exactly. And
how
he's
does he
not
own
doing
Bill?
anything for real food. He's doing appeal and all this other
Yeah,
crap,
but what the
buzz
reason he
and
bought all the
laughter.
farm? I'm sorry, Chris. Get what?
I was like, but yeah, but he's not using it for health purposes. He's
No,
to make people unhealthy.
he's holding it hostage so no one can grow anything healthy. So let
Yeah.
me buy everything. Why? So no one can grow anything healthy, and I own it all. And that's what he's doing. He's monopolizing the fields and the farms and the places where we can grow. And don't you realize about 4 or 5 years ago, all the meat plants were burning down. The chicken plants were burning down. All of a sudden, in 1 year, four meat plants burned down. Now we have to go to one company.
Yeah.
All the chickens, remember, they had to kill every chicken. They had a disease. They killed millions of chickens. Why? Eliminate the food supply that might be healthy and give them the Bill Gates fake meats, the appeals, everything. He owns all of this stuff. And
And
who
that's
are his
why I
partners?
really hate it when I have some people that bash me, like, how dare you speak negatively about Bill Gates? He's so,
Bill Gates is the
no,
villain of America. Anybody who's he pumped everybody with vaccines. Him and that Fauci guy, they
exactly.
should be online for crimes to humanity. And they talk about, and I'm not a political person whatsoever. I am an equal hater opportunist to every politician out there. Everybody is in cahoots. They're all rich. They make 170,000 a year, and they worth $10 million, 100 million. Look at Nancy Pelosi,
Yeah.
400 million.
Yeah.
How? You're making 170 a year. I make 170 a year. I bring home 50 by the time I leave California taxes and everything else. I mean,
Exactly.
how? I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's all a crime. And I think the reason they make the food different in Europe is because they have free health care and stuff. So there's nobody on the system to siphon from the money.
Yeah,
And they're like,
that,
no,
and that is why our family members in Italy can still eat like more, like just as amount of carbohydrates. They're just not eating a lot of processed crap. They're eating real food. They like, yeah. I was actually, I think I was asking my mother about like some of our, I was like, yeah, they still eat a lot of spaghetti and pasta, but they're actually very lean. They're actually walking. I'm like, it's because they're eating less processed crap. And this is
they're
what
not eating anything processed. The bread is made fresh. The pasta is made fresh from
yeah,
great
no,
meat.
no, no, no. It's what I'm saying. They're saying like the Americans are overweight and unhealthy is because we're eating nothing but
Yes,
processed crap. Yeah,
100% right. And look, and you have a can of soda. I don't drink soda. I haven't drank soda in years. You have a can of soda. You got 39 grams of sugar in a can of soda.
and you'll have a kid do a 12 pack a day.
And bread has more sugar than soda. It's almost like every single thing you do is made. I mean, it really is. It's a poisoning system to facilitate the medical system. It's a cycle of money, and they want you sick because let me ask you a question. If that prescription they gave you healed you, what would happen?
Yeah, they would go out of business.
They'd lose a customer.
Yeah, they lose a customer.
Instead, when they get these kids on these chemicals in the cereal, you take them to a doctor. The kid's a little hyper. He's got ADD. He's got this. Let's give him this. Okay.
And there's actually a doctor at UCLA who spoke out. You remember, I'm not sure if you remember, I was on LinkedIn, but I got banned from LinkedIn because I said men can get pregnant. They call that misinformation. But anyways, there is actually a doctor I was following. He was actually at UCLA, but he was actually promoting ketogenic diets, but I think his name was Dr. Lufkin. Not Lutwig, Lufkin. And he always posted this funny meme is that a patient cured is a customer lost, and like that is the biggest amount of truth that you can find in today's society is that yeah, if we would actually heal people naturally and get them to stop eating all this crap, they wouldn't be that sick. And yes, we can indirectly, that's probably the best and most efficient way to bankrupt big pharma is to get people to get healthy, stop eating a bunch of crap, and they won't have to rely on any kind of medications. or just find, yeah, we need more natural living. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not going to ask about your politics, Louis, but are you religious?
I grew up in a different place. I grew up in the Bronx, right?
Yeah,
So I grew up where it was kind of a tough place. Like my father was killed when I was 3. My grandfather, my whole family went to jail. So I was always just out there. I didn't go to school. I didn't really understand politics growing up. I didn't understand. No one taught me. So
yeah,
everything I was taught, I was on the street since I was 5, 7, 10 years old, just meandering around by myself.
yeah.
So, and that's how I would go through life. And how I learned life was not by what color you are, what religion you are. I didn't know anything. I
Yeah,
didn't know
well,
how.
the reason why I'm asking this, Louis, is because maybe there's a sense of whatever is looking over us, whatever created us, because I think there is some kind of like, I would say like, some kind of deity over there that's looking over us that created us. I think we're all on Earth for a purpose.
Right.
Whatever put us on this Earth for a purpose, they did not intend for us to eat a bunch of processed crap and take medications 24/7.
No, no, that should be so. And again, it's not up to you or me. It's up to the parents. I do it to my daughter.
Yeah, I
I
know,
go,
and that's why I really appreciate you looking after Ava. So Ava is very fortunate to have you as father, but we need a lot of other parents. And what I'm
yes,
trying to
to wake
do,
up.
exactly, we have to wake them up. The biggest problem right now is it would probably be improper for me on my political campaign to say the entire American public is stupid. So I have to be politically correct, and I say
Naive.
yeah, well, exactly. We're easily manipulated, and that's the
Yes.
problem with the big food and big pharma is that you have a lot of advertisements that can really manipulate, and they got these researchers behind these advertisements to really get like some attraction and persuasion to get someone to really rely like. Man, I'm really having some autoimmune issues. I'm really having some knee problems. I'm really having some digestive problems. I probably should take that pill. And, like Ozempic is a huge like concern that's kind of like going to be driving out. So yeah,
Oh my
so
God. Get to a
yeah, so
gym. You
yeah,
work out, lift
exactly.
some
And
weight. You're gonna
because people, and as a former personal trainer, I'll tell you that almost most of the people, they want the easiest and fastest like way to get something accomplished. They don't want to put the extra effort, and it kind of like pissed me off. I was like, I trained my whole life, and I went through boot camps like just to get me in good shape sometimes. And especially with the high school wrestling, I went to a 2 week boot camp where they woke you up at 5:30 in the morning. They beat the shit out of you until 10 o'clock at night. You did it 2 weeks straight up in the mountains. And then for to graduate, you have to run down and up a mountain 12 miles in less than 2 hours. And by the end of that 2 weeks, you're a machine. And that's how I got in. That's when I started like get into fitness was actually in high school. But I didn't like it when I had a lot of clients like, no, what's the easiest and fastest way to do this?
right.
I'm just gonna have a tummy tuck surgery or something like that. I was like, no, my God, no, it's a huge concern. So it's
Isn't that wait, I'm sorry. Isn't that our society? Is everyone wants it fast now and immediate, right? That's what you
exactly.
just said.
They
Everybody
don't
wants
want to put in the effort. They don't want to work
instant
for.
instant gratification, instant. And you know what I think that comes from these days is social media. Like I'll give you an example. Remember when you had AOL? It would be now
Yeah.
you put up your phone. If it's not there in 3 seconds, what do you say? Oh, come on.
I know, hey, exactly. Hey, and you know me, I'm a very impatient asshole. So I was like, I was like, hey, what's going on? So I think even my campaign team is something like, God, Chris, you're so impatient. I'm like, no, I want fast results. But it's true that there's some things in life that you should do the hard work patiently and wait for the results, especially if you get very sick. If it's very easy to get sick and unhealthy overnight. Okay. And then if people want to get healthy, if you did a lot of damage to your body, it's going to take a long time to heal. Look at after getting my intestines cut open multiple times in 2017, it took me years to heal. And I had to be very careful and I had to do trial and error. But the smartest move I've ever made personally was turning away from the pharmaceuticals. I'm like, I'm not going to get off the farm. I'm not going to, and this is why I was so anti-vax. I'm like, you know what? There should be, and what kind of woke me up is that what's going on with the conventional medical industry and big pharma. And when I saw like who was promoting the vaccine, Bill Gates, that is where the biggest red flag, and that's where I spoke out against the vaccines And that is why I'm not sure if you know, Louis, why I'm running for it is Congress. I'm running for state Congress now, not federal, but it's because 2017 was a huge wake up call, getting drugged up for 2 years and getting your intestines cut open while you're fully awake. But then when I spoke out against the vaccine mandates in 2020 going into 2021, especially when they started mandating it here in California, it was every state have a different state. In California, it was August 5th, 2021 was where they mandated the like, required vaccines for healthcare workers and government employees. And if you didn't get jabbed, you'd lose your job. And they didn't make any exemptions. And if a doctor wrote you a medical exemption, they would suspend the doctor's license. And this is something I know personally because I had doctors. I actually represent a lot of doctors, even though everybody said Chris bashes doctors. Like, no, I actually represent all the doctors who speak out against big pharma. Those are my type of doctors. But
Yeah.
anyways, I had a lot of my peers report me to the state bar and call me a danger to public health. They asked to revoke my license, my bar license, which I worked my ass off. And when I dismissed the complaints, when I fought out and I showed them what I can do under the First Amendment, and the fact that I substantiated all my comments through clinical research, I decided to get my PhD in public health and public policy because I wanted to make an analysis. It was kind of like a wake up call, but I think we need more people and parents like you to have this type of wake up call, but there's going to be a lot of pushback. So, is this what kind of provoked you to like starting the pizza business with Ava's just to get some real food and like an Avalou's pizza?
Yeah, I mean, when I started I mean, it took me 2 years to develop my pizza, right? And I made sure the dough wasn't bromated, which is highly processed,
Yeah,
bleach, and all of that. That's illegal in California. That's one thing California does great. We've been eating it all our lives. I grew up in New York. Everybody who eats pizza across the country buys a flour called, I don't even want to say mention it, but it's a very flour that's been around forever.
yeah,
But it has all these carcinogens in it. It is bromated. It's bleach. It has all these chemicals. So and it's killing people. But you've been eating pizza your whole life, so you don't know because every
yeah,
pizzeria uses it. Unless you use a computer from Italy, it doesn't have it. So you don't even know what you're eating, and you go, "Oh, give me a slice," but you're eating it your whole life, right? Like I'll give you an example. 90%, the biggest food eaten in our country is what? Cheese.
yeah,
Cheese,
yeah.
right?
You're going.
Pfizer owns the company that makes rennet. Rennet is how you make cheese. Rennet comes from cows' intestines.
Yeah, cow intestines, exactly.
That's what rennet makes. It's natural. It's from cow. Pfizer is GMO in rennet. They're
Yeah.
making 90% of the cheese in our country. Unless you buy foreign cheese, it's in there. So you're not even eating real rennet that makes cheese. And that's the biggest consumed food we eat in this country.
And this is
Why?
going back to that vicious cycle, right?
Why? Why is Pfizer making the most popular food in the world? It don't make sense. And again, when you tell people this, they think you're bashing someone or them. They
Yeah,
almost take it personal. Oh, what do you mean? You don't know? Like other countries, we use red dye this, red dye that. All these dyes that are causing 97 problems, right? Other countries, they use beet juice to dye red. They use carrot juice. Carrot,
yeah. Use natural ingredients, right?
yes. And why can't we do it here? Why don't we rip that land back from Bill Gates, the farmers and the people? The people.
Yeah. And
Why
actually,
you
yeah, and
I'm
actually that
sorry,
was
go.
one of my major focuses. I'm not sure if you saw me doing the podcast with Casey Parker, the beautiful blonde girl who's like the head of American Rancher Alliance. We had a long podcast where I posted all these shorts, but one of them was that you're right, there is an agricultural monopoly going on. What happens is actually this is the reason why we've had the highest rates of bankruptcy filings from American farmers for the past 4 to 5 years. A major of it, like it started off with the Biden administration, but that's where Bill Gates basically acquired more and more land. And either he would hold it hostage, as you said, or he would lease it back to the American farmers on unconscionable, like unfair terms, where they could not sustain their business and they had to file for bankruptcy. So he kind of wanted to bankrupt.
That's a plan. That's
Yeah.
planned.
So that's why a
That,
lot of American farmers
wait,
do not like Bill
but
Gates.
can I tell you something? Okay, how did he acquire all that land? He didn't steal it, he bought it. Who did he buy it from? The greedy people that are like, I'll sell. How
Yeah.
much? And now you're stuck with nothing being a prisoner to someone, right? The
Exactly.
greedy, our whole society is about greed. Let's be
Yeah.
honest,
And
right?
I was going to ask you, like, the Hollywood industry's got to be the worst, right?
The worst. You got studios like Discovery Warner being bought by Paramount, which is Oracle, which is Larry Ellison. He bought Paramount. Now he's buying Warner Brothers Discovery. Discovery's like I don't know billions in debt. You heard what I said? Billions in debt. They're not turning profits. The movies are bombing. Billions in debt. They're buying Warner Brothers. Guess what his compensation package is?
I don't
You're
say.
losing money
Yeah.
now. You're losing your company. You have a pizza company. It's losing money every day. Somebody comes in and goes, "We're going to buy it from you." He's getting anywhere from 500 to $900 million bonus. Wait a
Wow.
second. You're going to lay off 30,000 people. That's what's happening, and you're getting a $900 million bonus.
No.
You're 30 something billion in debt. How?
Is there a lot of people in Hollywood speaking out against this?
No, because they're all afraid to talk. I think Hollywood has run its course. Streamers destroyed it. It all started back when Blockbuster went out of business. Blockbuster was a massive
Yeah,
40
I
bit
remember that and actually there was a South Park episode on that too.
40 billion a year it was generating. Old catalogs, Lucille Balls, all the new ones, rental sales. It was a billion. It only went 10 years. And then the streamers came on, and what the studios do, because they didn't want to pay residuals, they didn't want to ship DVDs. So what they said was, we're going to give it all to Netflix, and we're going to get the money. We're not going to pay residuals. We're not going to pay right. We're not going to pay anyone. We're going to keep it ourselves. So Netflix came in and then cannibalized Hollywood. So they kind of
Yeah, no,
created.
that's why when, Netflix went woke and I saw Elon Musk is kind of comment on that and it started like, kind of change like I think I saw some celebrities like I don't want my children watching this kind of stuff. It's going to mess with
Well,
their
not only the woke stuff. It's all business, right?
yeah.
They killed the business with streamers, and then what they started doing was this. Talk about greed. Okay, we're gonna release a big movie today, and then tomorrow you can watch it on Netflix. Why would you go to a movie? Why would you go to a theater and spend $50, $100, whatever, when you could watch it tomorrow on Netflix? That was the
Yeah.
problem. No, a lot of big directors, James Cameron, Scorsese, are going, we're not making movies anymore to be released on Netflix. If it's not going to have a theater run, we're not going to make them. And that's what the theaters, the network, the studios started going, no, 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 we'll fix this, we'll do this. Because they said we're not making movies for what? It's going to go, it's like a TV show. Everything blends in. You can't tell the difference. The streamers destroyed Hollywood, and now they're starting to fold, And you look at some of these people in Hollywood, it's like, I'll give you an example. Bill Gates is, I mean, let's Elon Musk is worth what, 800 billion, they say?
Yeah,
700.
he's close to a trillion.
Okay,
I know
okay,
that.
okay. Larry Ellison's probably worth 600 billion, 500 billion. Bill Gates, 300 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, 300 billion. You got 4 to 5 guys worth $3 trillion. Look it up. I'm not spewing
Yeah, no,
anything
that's
that's
a
not
very fair
fact.
statement.
You got 5 guys worth $3 trillion. We have homeless kids. We have starving people. We have a screwed up food system. What are you going to do with $3 trillion? You can never. Why are you not putting it into school systems? You know why? Because the more uneducated and stupider the kids are, the more control they have over the population. And they will just march to the beat of the drum of what the people tell them because
This
there's
is
more.
why I favor charter schools for now for a lot of reason too, right?
Right, but what are you doing with $3 trillion? You have homeless veterans, you have homeless kids, you have people starving, you have homeless animals
Well,
even.
here's another thing. Have you ever, so if someone comes to try to debate you and they say, look, hey, and you say, hey, Bill Gates, and you tell them all the things that we just talked about. They say, yeah, but he's got these philanthropies and these foundations that he's built. I was like, did you know that those foundations actually funnel money back to some of his own companies?
Wait, you mean agenda? You don't mean
Yeah,
you mean agendas?
exactly.
Let,
So a
let's
lot of
let's use
them
the
don't
right words
recognize
here.
it. Yeah, a lot of them don't recognize the agenda, and I'm just hoping that we can, that's why I'm really
Well,
concerned with.
Chris, I'm sorry. He says to people's faces, I want to reduce population with vaccines. He says it. World
Yeah,
Economic Forum, he gets on and he spouts that, right? I want
yeah,
to reduce population. And people go, you're a conspiracy theorist. I go, no, 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 no. He's saying it,
yeah,
people.
exactly. You quote them, you show the video, and I think
Yeah. Oh,
I
no,
think
you're
even
a
I think
conspiracy.
even Kamala Harris even said it during her campaign too. So, but
But that's
here's an interesting question. Okay, Louis, since we're talking about and I'm not, by the way, I'm not sure if you know, but I became Dr. Brandlin when I got my PhD. My dissertation is the last thing to approve your PhD. It was actually on the vaccine mandates. And they allowed me to do it because even though it was easy to talk about the health, because I have like a thousands of literature talking about the health consequences of the vaccine, I focus on the ethical issues, basically how policy should be for all employment in the United States by maintaining your work and having your constitutional rights and not infringing on your constitutional rights by forcing you to take something that's against your best wishes. But so the vaccines was a huge issue, even though everyone's like it's a thing of the past. I'm like, no, but it's still going to be ongoing. You're always going to have some bullshit variants, but a lot of people are afraid to speak out against it. And I'll be honest with you, even though most of the Republicans favor the fact that I am anti-vax, a few of them said, don't talk about it. Don't be anti-vax. That's not going to look good. And I was like, no, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to lose my integrity. I don't believe it's proper to manipulate people. If you're free, if you want to be a sheep and take it, if you're allowed like that, but you should not manipulate people into taking something without discussing some of the health repercussions.
or forcing them.
Exactly. Enforcing it was the biggest issue because that's why I did my dissertation was on the mandates, the government employees and healthcare workers. But a lot of people were afraid to speak out against a lot of different industries. So I got to ask you, because the Hollywood, you got to be careful what you say, because not only do you want to divide your kind of like your audience, right? But you want to be getting work. Were there a lot of people in Hollywood that are kind of afraid to speak out against the vaccines?
Listen, I'm not speaking out against certain vaccines
Yeah.
are maybe good. Polio, there's certain vaccines for kids that might, might be really valuable. I'm not saying that to eliminate all vaccines. But when you have a fake disease like COVID and people are saying you can't go to work, you can't go to school, you can't talk to your
And you
grandmother
see
in the
Bill
hospital.
Gates as their health spokesperson.
Right. And and
Who
and
who
and
needs a bra? And he's got bitch tits, you know?
And again, right. And again, I'm not discouraging parents for vaccines for certain things.
Yeah,
You
I
need
know.
them.
There are
You
some that
need them
actually have a little bit more
and
efficacy
you
and
build resistance for kids with certain things. But when you're 50 years old and they're telling you COVID came in, and you're going, okay, but when they're mandating something like that for a cold or a cough or a disease or a flu that they're saying it's COVID, it's killing a million people. When they're telling you you can't go to school, you can't go see your grandmother in the hospital, you better take this or you're going to be ostracized from society. That's an agenda.
yes. And that's where
That's
so let's talk about when you have an agenda like that where a lot of people are afraid to speak out against the agenda.
Well, people are afraid of everything these days. People are
Yeah.
afraid of being canceled. That's what social media did. I don't look at it, as going afraid to speak out. I look at it as if parents were aware, of what they're putting in your system. When you have the head of Pfizer and the presidents of these companies coming out and going, it was all an agenda. These are the guys who made the stuff. These are the guys who ran the system, are telling you it's fake.
Or Fauci admitted that that 6 foot space was all full of shit.
Oh yeah, he told everything was. And then they
Yeah.
showed comparisons of him contradicting everything he said. I never said that. He said that he goes, I told people you can't do it. I never said that. And they're showing videos. The guy's lying to your face. Let me ask you a question. If you're married and your wife comes home and she's lying to you every day, do you stay married?
If she's lying to me every day, no, I don't get it. And
Now you
actually,
have the,
I'm one of the few friends that I've never got married. You know why,
you're
by the
lucky. No
way?
wonder you got so much money and you live.
Look, I spent a lot of my money on my PhD, and this campaign is great too. But I didn't do the reason why I never got married is I did
Because
one of
you're
the
smart. You got
well,
19
I
degrees. You
started.
got
I did family law for a lot of friends right when I passed the bar exam in 2011, and even family members. And when you get involved in a family law case and you see the worst, it really kind of like emotionally scars you from ever getting married. And I believe there is a proper woman out there, but it's probably not the best time in the campaign. And during the campaign, you already got 99 problems. Really, do you really want a 100th problem right now?
right,
But
like it
that's
Jay-Z says, 99 problems and a
exactly.
BICH81.
So
But
yeah,
what I say about those vaccines for certain things are absolutely necessary. Let's not bash all vaccines. Number one.
yeah.
Number two, when you're being forced as an adult to take something that's a flu that you're going to die, I rather, you know what I'm saying? It's an
It's the
agenda.
agenda we're speaking out against.
It's
Exactly.
not a vaccine, it's an agenda. And if it worked the first time, why do I need seven more boosters? You get
Yeah.
it? And how much money did Bill Gates profit from that? They showed it was like $900 million he made from vaccine sales. And then he came out and goes later on going, wait, I don't think those are good. You pushed them on everyone. Now they're not good. What happened to Fauci? He disappeared because he should be like, remember in Frankenstein? That guy was the biggest problem in our society for those 4 years. I'm on with that little cocky arrogance, and you're forcing people to do it. You can't go to work. You ever see the videos? You're not going to let you in colleges. We're not going to let you. What do you mean? You're talking about no kings. You're telling people if you don't go get a vaccine, you can't go to school. You can't go to see your grandmother in the hospital. You can't do it. Who's being a dictator now?
Yeah.
How is this Fauci in charge of our society? He did the same thing with AIDS back in the 80s. He was the head architect for all of that stuff. Look it up, you know. It's just I don't understand how people fell for that so quickly. You know, oh, you're gonna die if you don't take it. Okay, more people are dying from it, from the symptoms from it. I mean, doctors are saying it, political people are saying it. It ain't me. I watch a lot of stuff, and I don't take my information from Instagram.
And
You
look
know,
at I studied vaccines going back to 1777. So I'm not sure if you're aware, Louis, I did a separate reel on this, but when we got our Declaration of Independence in 1776, because our 250th is coming up in this July, the war kept going. A lot of people were like, oh, we won that. I was like, no, the war actually kept going. And actually, to help prevail in the war in 1777, George Washington met with the Surgeon General and he said, hey, a lot of our soldiers are dying. And they weren't dying actually of battle, they were dying of smallpox. So what he did, he's like, how can we, we're losing so many soldiers from smallpox. And he was like, how can you get it? He's like, well, we got to build herd immunity. So we can do an inoculation. Very similar to a vaccine. Inoculation is where you use a live form of a virus from someone else it's almost like the movie Outbreak Monkey with Dennis Hopkins back in the 1990s. Remember that movie?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Outbreak?
yeah.
So it was the same kind of premise is that you would actually take the pus of a wound from a infected soldier alive while they're still alive and use that to inoculate other soldiers where they'll get quickly sick, but they'll get better. So there is a premise, and it actually worked. And so it worked in 1777. All the soldiers got like basically built the herd immunity where they got over the virus and they were able to fight the battle and win the war. So that's actually how we beat Britain. No one recognizes that, but inoculation slightly different. In a virus, you're usually using a dead form of a virus, but the problem is the sorry for a vaccine. For a vaccine, you're using a dead form of the virus, but the reason why the most recent came up to part is that it's not just the fact that you're how you're sourcing it, it's what you're putting in the vaccines. And this is where you're seeing,
Right.
yeah, heavy metals, and the worst is what the spike proteins, and that's what causes the coagulation. The coagulation of the blood thickens the blood, and that's what causes all these strokes. And that's why you see some of these athletes dropping like flies in their 20s. Like, he just had
Yeah.
a. I had two close friends have heart failures right after that. I'm not going to say it was directly related, but it doesn't bring up a question. So, but yeah, but someone who studied that there are when there are studies behind it, and there's more of like a focus to make sure that it's like a safety concerns. That's something that should be elaborated. And that's what I do want to focus on public health. Let's put some more time and studying into this, okay? I think more doctors should be educated on nutrition. The average doctor spends less than 12 hours total on their entire on nutrition, their entire medical school career. So it's kind of like a big issue that your average personal trainer knows more about nutrition than your average medical
Well,
doctor.
well, let me tell you some quick story. Years ago, about 10 years ago, I used to go to my doctor in Marina Del Rey, right?
Yeah.
And I go into the doctor's office and he's like, okay. And this guy was just like, you could see him just loud. I'm from Brooklyn, older guy, right? And I was like, okay, okay. So every time I would go, you need this blood pressure. You're going to be dead by the time you leave this office if you don't. He would do scare tactics. And I would be like, okay, dude, like, really? I don't even want to come back and see you if this is the way you handle your clients.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
he would go, hold on, I'll be right back. He'd go in the next room. This is what made me stop going to him. Go to the
Yeah,
next
and
room.
they keep you in a room and you're just waiting there quiet.
Right, wait. So Chris, right. So you're sitting there and he's telling me, you're gonna be dead, you're gonna need this. He goes in the next room, 80-year-old couple, he tells him the same thing, right? He goes into the next room, he says the same thing. So he comes back, I go, I have a question. Are you reading from a script? He's like, what do you mean? I go, because you just told me, and at the time I was like 40, 45. What you just told an 80-year-old couple and you told another family. The same thing. He was like, "You're
Yeah.
crazy." He goes, "I'm going to prescribe you a new medicine." I go, "What is it?" He says, "There's so and so, so and so." I go, "Doc, that's causing cancer. You're crazy. What are you?" He moves
Yeah.
me aside. He sits at his computer, right? He's typing away. It comes up red. He's like, looks at me. He goes, huh, "Okay, okay. Well, I'm going to prescribe it anyway." I go, "It's in front of you, telling you this blood pressure medicine is causing cancer. They're discontinuing it, and you're still trying to give it to me." I go, "You're terrible." And I never went back to him after that.
Good.
And all he would do is go, "You're going to die by the time you leave this room." He died before me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oof.
he died before me. And and that's when I realized 10 years ago, like, it's a system, it's a scam, it's an agenda. Pump the people with pills, let them fucking get sick. I'm sorry, let them get
Yeah.
sick. Let them get sick, and let's feed them more, more. Let's feed them the cure to the problem we gave them. Well, not the cure, but the agenda. I
And a
call
lot
it.
of these doctors get kickbacks from what they're prescribing.
All of them. I sold my apartment to a medical rep, a pharmaceutical rep,
Yeah.
and she would tell me, "Yeah, it's called residuals." And he
Exactly.
and he would always say, "You need the 5 year plan." Yeah, because even if he retires, he still gets residuals for 5 years until you stop taking the medicines. It's insanity. And I'm going to tell you who's to blame and who needs to step up if you want to clear society of all these chemicals in our foods and all this, even social media, is the parents. You
Yes.
need an uprising of parents. Would you give your kid crack? I'm asking you. Not funny. This is not a joke. Would
No,
you give your
never.
kid crack? No. Would you make them drink motor oil? No. But you're going to give them 57 ingredients in cereal, 67 ingredients in bread, 87 ingredients in every single thing you open. You're giving them equivalent to crack, which I call a drug. It ain't
Yeah.
necessarily a drug, but all drugs.
Giving your kids crap is another form of child abuse.
That's right. And if and when you're fighting the people like they all turned on that JFK guy, guy's trying to help you be healthier,
Yeah.
and you're mad at him.
That's actually what made me run is because
Oh my
I met
God,
with
Chris.
Team Kennedy in DC, and it was kind of like a good wake up call. I'm like, why is everybody bashing this guy? This is
Why are they? Me, I'm like, okay, dude. If you could stop putting red dyes and that are causing cancers and you glyphosates and seed oils and stuff that's cheaper to produce, so they can make more profits. As a parent, I love my child. You don't love him enough to make him eat cereal every day.
yeah.
I don't know. I think we need to start backwards from
And
the
so
home,
and yeah, exactly.
from
And
the parents,
but
from the home.
we need to address all the parents, and we need to have more people. And this is what I'm doing during my campaign is I want to meet with all the parents. And this is why you saw me doing like a fitness challenge with the Boy Scouts. And I had and right after the Boy Scouts, I had a good sit down meeting with all the parents on what I want to do in the campaign and what they should focus on to have healthy children. I was like, guys, I was like, folks, your children are basically our country's future leaders. I
That's
want to
right.
make sure they're healthy, but this is what I'm going to recommend for you. I'm not going to tell you that you have to eat all meat or anything. I want you to basically make them eat real food.
Real food. But Chris, you can't these days. And
Yeah,
if you're on a budget in a family, you go buy a salad at
yeah,
$17.
exactly. They want the cheapest
You
possible.
get a freaking Happy
Exactly.
Meal for 5, which is poison garbage fake, but you get a salad for 17. Let me ask you a
But
question.
go
Let
ahead.
me ask you, is that planned? Is that planned?
Is it
Is that
planned?
part of the
Yeah,
agenda? Make it
yeah.
harder.
It's part of the agenda to make it unaffordable to eat real
That's
food.
right.
So they would
That's
have
right.
to buy cheaper food that makes you sicker, and then you have to then you have to
You
rely on
get it?
medications. Yeah,
And when we speak about this, it's no longer, it's called the agenda. Every single thing we talk about
agenda.
is the
Gotcha.
agenda. The agenda to make people sick, put them on pharmaceuticals, destroy society,
Should
eliminate
probably
people.
we should probably do a routine podcast. We'll call it the agenda, and it'll be the agenda
Right.
podcast. Let's do it.
Right. And again, this is nothing to do with Democrat, Republican,
Yeah,
anybody. I can't stand, I'm an equal. I can't stand all politicians. I
I know.
think they're all have the agenda. And
They
they could,
all have agenda.
and the problem is they sometimes they go in with good intentions, right?
Yeah, but
But
they
then
get
you
bought
get,
out later.
it's kind of like the mafia. You might go in going, "Hey, I want to be a gambling guy." Before you know it, you're selling drugs, you're getting killed, you're in a bad. It's the same kind of criminal kind of mindset.
Yeah.
You come in here going, I want to save the world. But then you get in there and you're like, well, if you pass this bill, you're going to have $10 million. I'm going to pass that bill.
And that's actually how they buy out a lot of politicians.
That's just again the agenda. Buy out the politicians who passed the laws. How did Nancy Pelosi accumulate $400 million? Tell
Yeah.
me.
Getting bought out and then getting
Right. And that's just
and
not
she's
hers.
got and well a major one was so she knows exactly as a congressman you'll know exactly what's going to happen with a lot of industries, a lot of companies. So
That's right.
you
A
know
year
where to put
before.
if you have stocks, you'll know where to that company is going out. I'm going to take my stocks from that. I'm going to put over this company is actually going to get some benefits from this new legislation that we're going to pass in. They're going to thrive. I'm putting my stocks over here. That's how you
Well,
build it.
that's what's happening with the Iran thing. You don't think 6 months ago they knew they were going to do this, and they go, okay, well, everybody buy oil stocks. It went from $93 to 190. I don't know how much it is now. I'm
Yeah.
just saying triple. All right, now we're still doing what gas is $5, $8 a gallon here in California.
Yeah,
What
I don't want to bring too much politics, but I want to point the finger at Newsom for a lot of that.
Oh, every one of them. Newsom, I don't know how that guy's still elected. He's like a Batman villain.
Yeah, I know he is.
Hey, with the hands and he does this and the
Yeah, he not just that. A lot of his photos, he has like an evil smile. I'm like,
evil. Him and Bill Gates are like related in some way. But my
all
point
right.
is,
The last like 10 minutes about I want to focus on your business and what you're going to be doing because I want more people to come to your business and I want more people to eat. If they want to eat pizza, then they're going to eat the cleanest pizza that they can. So
right, but there is one ingredient that we cannot take out. Our dough is unbelievably pure.
yeah.
Our gravy we use, or you call it sauce. Our gravy is three ingredients: Italian tomatoes from Italy, sea salt, olive oil from
My other
Italy.
Italian friend told me about like how I was like he kept mentioning gravy. I'm like, what the fuck? You putting gravy? He's like, no, it's the sauce. This is what we want.
Hey, wait, when people say that to me, no, it's not. It's not gravy. It's sauce. We put gravy. Wait, listen to what they say. They put gravy on like mashed potatoes. I go, don't they put barbecue sauce? Don't they make
Yes.
hot? People go, oh no, it's not the same. Well, you're just telling me it's the same with gravy.
Yeah, it's just a nickname for it. It's
But
cool.
that's
So,
where you grow up. But
but
anyway,
go
so
ahead.
so I just did a huge event for the school. We have one ingredient that we have to use. There's a seed oil in it, but our sauce doesn't have it. Our dough doesn't have it. Our cheese is clean as can be. But there's one ingredient inside a garlic sauce that we use. I can't eliminate that. That's part of what we do. There's one ingredient though. And when I looked at it the other day, I called the manufacturer and I said, he's like, if you don't want the garlic sauce, you're not gonna. But it's not a massive list of ingredients. It's one ingredient that makes the sauce. And I saw that and I was like, hmm. So sometimes you have no choice because it's part of the evolution of what you're making. You get it?
Yeah.
But I keep every single thing else in my pizzas are as clean as can be. Even when you eat them, you'll see. You go, oh my God. And I do a lot of these schools. Like I just did Hoover School. I did a bunch of these schools already. I do charities for them. We show up. Yesterday, we fed about 200 kids. We
Awesome.
roll up, yeah, and I give them free pee. I get out, I give them pizzas and ice creams and whatever else we have, like ice pops or whatever. But I try to give back to the people here because
Good.
parents don't have the money,
Yeah,
and
and
it's
that's why
not
I kind of gave back to the Boy Scouts, and it was kind of like it was a kind of a big dip in my own personal finances. But like, oh, I want to give these guys a good workout, but I want to feed them, and I'm going to feed them like real.
right.
Exactly.
And I get joy in that. I grew up, my whole family always fed people, and even now when I'm on the truck with my daughter and my partner, they laugh. I get out there, I give everything free. I don't care. When am I going to make another $100? I don't care. I don't care. Keep it. I don't.
Yeah.
I want to make sure kids are fed.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with our society. You got $3 trillion within four people, and people are starving. How are you not dumping? So if Elon Musk took 100 billion, you still got 700 billion,
Yeah.
and you fed every kid in America
But you feed them real food.
real food.
Yeah.
Buy land back from Bill Gates. Why? Because he's hoarding the land so no one can grow real food.
Yeah.
Let's buy fake meat. Italy banned fake meat. Did you see that?
Yeah,
Italy banned.
that's why I love Milani.
But
So
that's what I'm trying to say is why is this guy monopolized all our farmland? Because he don't want real food. He wants his lab grown chicken, his lab grown appeal, his lab grown
yeah.
area. People don't get it. Why is a computer guy the big?
And that's why, and it's kind of unfortunate that only 7 of the 50 states have banned lab grown meat. And this is actually what I'm personally pushing here. And I actually told some of the PACs, they're like, well, what's your agenda once you get in office? I'm like, first things first, I'm gonna ban lab grown meat. That's one of the biggest things because it's not just the fact that it's fake. It's just it's got a lot of carcinogen and it's not
It's
natural to your body.
terrible. Let's be
Exactly.
realistic. I don't want a meat
Exactly.
grown in some lab with Wuhan or wherever these things are coming from. But again, to Bill Gates' defense, and I'm not a Bill Gates guy,
Yeah.
the greedy American people sold their land to him.
Yeah. It's true.
Oh my God, I'm going to make $1 million. Now you're stuck broke. You have no business. Now you're crying boo hoo on
Yeah.
TV. You should have not boo hooed and go, what is he
Because you
going to do with
sold your soul to the devil.
you sold your soul, and he didn't. Bill Gates didn't come there with a gun. Bill
Yeah.
Gates is like, hey, I got money. Everybody's like, I got money. I'm going to be rich. Now
Yeah.
you have no company. You have no money. Your kids are eating poison. You cannot grow anything, all because you sold out your soul for money.
Yeah.
That's my biggest
Yeah.
thing.
We,
Parents
we
are
we need to have more people with integrity to stand out and say,
right.
you know what? I don't care about the money.
Right, there is none. Our whole society's become greedy. Look, I just told you the guy's selling Disney thing. He's making 900 million. The guy's, what are you going to do with 900 million when you're laying off 30,000 hardworking
But
people?
you told me, and you kind of last night, is you and you found a few friends, some people in Hollywood that are actually kind of stepping out to do more for health and their anti-seed oils, right? So
Yeah, a lot. The guys I work with, a company, my pizzas are in a company called Mic Drop. It's a karaoke nightclub opening in West Hollywood. These two brothers, Leo and Oliver, are amazing, amazing guys, and they're into the health stuff. Everything on their menu is no seed oils, no nothing. They are really going to the level of not.
they went from the music industry to kind of focus on this too, right?
Yeah, they're doing a whole great carry. I was there last night. I was amazed. These guys are geniuses. They are great. They are smart. They are into the health stuff, and I'm glad to be a part of what they're doing. And again, we need to before we hang up, we need to reset. We
Yeah.
need to attach the parents to every problem that there is. The parents, it starts in the home, right? Because if you're 5 years old, you don't know what seed oils are. You don't know what this is. But a parent is your protector.
Parents need to be more educated
They
too.
need to be way more. They need to tone down social media. You know what the best thing I saw yesterday was? I was driving through a park and I saw a bunch of kids playing basketball in the park, hanging out. And I was like, I
Exactly. This is
almost,
why I'm trying to clean up all
Chris,
parks here in Las Vegas, is because I want to see. Look at when you and I are. Look, I'm a little younger than you. I'm 40, so I'm a little younger than you. But when I was growing up, a lot of us would be at the parks every day. So we would
every
be.
day, every night till
Yeah,
5 a.m. playing basketball, throwing the football.
yeah. We
We
need to
need
have kids playing out in the parks again.
we need to reduce social media time because mentally you're destroying your kid, physically you're destroying him with food.
Yeah.
Mentally, social media, physically with every garbage product you're giving our kids. You do an accumulation of that. What do you get? You get depression, you get ADD, you get cancers, you get kind of sicknesses that 10-year-olds, 15-year-olds should never have. Even mental sickness, which is the social media. Everyone's depressed. They're staring at the screens.
Yeah,
That's
and not
the
just that, they're doing it very late night too.
horrible, Chris. I'm
I'm
so
checking like sometimes I'll because I have to like maintain like social media. I'll check it. Have people sending me messages like at 2 in the morning. I know they're like Pacific Standard Time. I'm like, ew, what are you up at 2 in the morning on social media, man? Like
it's
you gotta train
terrible.
your brain.
All right, let's let the next thing we should do is kind of try to encourage parents to take a better step forward.
Yeah, or just have restrictions to social media during certain hours of the day.
Food as
Yeah,
well. Food
yeah.
as well. Stop the agenda.
It's a good push. And so, hey, we're gonna probably follow up, but I'm gonna take some shorts of this, and then we'll kind of
Yes,
start closing
little
over.
clips. Yes.
So where can people find you if I said, hey, you got to try Avalo's Pizza?
We're in
And
Long
no,
Beach.
I know if they're in LA County, you can always probably go over there. But where else can they find you?
Well, we're in Long Beach, California. We have a truck. We do special events, and we have a great time doing it. We're working on a location or two here in Long Beach, but we also now have a nightclub that the two brothers, Leo and Oliver, called Mic Drop. Follow them on Instagram, MICDROP, and it's a great new venture they're doing. But now my pizzas are
I
on the
think I
menu.
saw them like our post together, so I'll follow them. Yeah. So
Yeah, they're great guys. You would like them because they're into the health stuff. What you're saying, and they're really good dudes. One was like a famous bassist for like Third Eye Blind and a bunch of other bands. They're really good guys. They're smart. They're into the health stuff. But my pizzas are now on their menu at Mike Drop in West Hollywood. It's on Santa Monica and San Vicente. It's going to be this massive karaoke a nightclub that looks like a 1930s radio set, gorgeous design. These guys are geniuses. My pizzas will be on the menu there. We have 5 pizzas. We do a pastrami, a grandma. We do a pepperoni. We do 6 pizzas that are on their menu there. So if you're in West Hollywood, go down to Mic Drop, have a pizza, and sing with your friends all night. It's going to be a great time. Last night I went there and I was blown away in what they're doing. So that's how you find our pizzas in Hollywood. Now you can find them in Long Beach. We're about to try to open a location.
Yeah. All right. Well, look forward to checking it out. We'll kind
Thank
of
you,
post
Chris.
some links. Thank you for coming on
Yes.
the show, and we'll look forward to speaking with you soon, buddy.
Thank you, pal.